Hello again. So now we're moving into design. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time to talk about kind of architectural moments and sequences through your building. Um, I think the best way to show this is showing an example of a project. So I found this little project on Design that I'll share with you. But basically, it's a little gin bar in Sydney, Australia, and I think it's quite good um, the way it kind of uses a space in quite a neat way. But it starts to talk about little moments through that space that make it special. So the sequence in which these photographs run on Design is a bit strange, but I'm starting here in the doorway and then we'll take it from there. So I think what's important is that first moment of interaction with someone visiting this gym bar or your restaurant, the chapel. Uh, that first moment is often the doorway or the threshold, and there's a few things to sort of consider there. So just looking at this, what's important is there's a sense of what's beyond that space. They've kind of defined the doorway quite clearly. There's this sort of threshold here, which gives a definite transition from the street into that space, and that's marked quite clearly and is reflected with this kind of extended lintel that's above there, which looks like it's got some little lights in as well, uh, creating kind of a welcome doorway space. They've used kind of contrasting materials in order to sort of define it again against the brickwork. And then there's this little section here. It looks like it's full of lemons, hinting at what might be happening inside. So that's, there's no signage or anything there, but just that kind of pile of lemons within that little niche tells you a little bit about what might be happening. Some of you might like cucumber with your gin. These obviously like the lemons. And then you just get this hint of the staircase going up with the first step poking its toe out, kind of inviting you in to go upstairs. And then they've really cleverly just put the lighting down there, so it casts down the stairs, so it gives you a hint of where you want to go. So although this is like a simple little image, there's quite a lot going on there in terms of design. And I think that's important because that's your first point of interaction. So then we go into the sort of this bar area, and it immediately sets the tone for its kind of its style and its appearance and what you expect from it. And you as a client will kind of adjust yourself accordingly to the atmosphere that's in the bar. Again, the use of lighting here is quite clever, that they've used strip lighting in and around the seating, around the outside, around the perimeter, but then they've really highlighted the key thing, which is the gin. So I know immediately that this place is all about gin, and they're happy to show that off. I think part of the thing that you might want to think about is how you create kind of, or if you want to, how there's a potential to create different moods, different settings within that space. Often that's by the use of kind of seating, but also framing windows or using them to kind of dictate the plan, which we talked a little bit about in table layout, but also then using lighting and kind of feature elements to change how that particular area feels. So you've got, even in this little photo, you've kind of got more informal seating here, where you've got this kind of more sort of formalized seating down at this end by the window with this large lamp that sits over the top, which we'll see in a second. So this is that corner. And what this does is, by bringing this kind of huge sort of feature piece in here, it starts to create light over the table, but also bring the mood down in that corner. So it naturally feels a little bit quieter, a little bit cozier, and then you get these views out. But they've kind of cleverly used this just bamboo blind there as well to sort of change the setting. I said the running order was a bit strange, but this is the front elevation of this existing building in Sydney. And again, what they're doing here is they're displaying the gin and offering something to the street. So it's all about welcoming and encouraging people in. But actually, there's minimal amount of information there that's given to the street. It's just this kind of illuminated window that kind of invites you in. And then this is the kind of the gin bar at the front, which is your takeout shop essentially. We can skip on from there. And again, it's all about the gin. And what they've done here is, because these bottles are special, it's their own brand gin. There's this. They've made this little kind of display shelf, which each one kind of be unhooked, and it's got this little recess for the gin to set in. And so each one feels kind of special and precious. And again, it's this idea of you taking the key thing of your building or your restaurant or whatever your project's about, and really kind of nurturing it and bringing it to fore to create these kind of special moments. So then from here, you've got the stair going up. And again, there's just this sense of it leading to somewhere. You don't necessarily see what happens beyond that, but it gives a little sense of intrigue. A couple of bits here that are sort of interesting is the this kind of bit where they've studded in kind of an entry mat here to wipe your shoes on. Now this is already inside the building, but you're moving from this kind of retail space into the sort of gin bar sort of specialist space. And so it's encouraging you to wipe your feet, suggesting that this place up here is even more special and you want to kind of prepare yourself for that. They also start to hint at this kind of sliding door, which you'll see in a second. So when that's closed off, it adds this element of sort of secrecy behind there. But there's a couple of little hints to say that something's going on. Gin Lab, tight, you know, little bit of text in brass there. You got this handrail that you'd think, well, why is that there? Because it's leading to something beyond. And again, the mat. So it's little clues. Just a nice bit of detailing. Thinking of it, embedding the lighting. You've got this kind of concrete here. Really nice bits of joinery and furniture. But again, it's kind of changing the mood from one place to another, creating this little moment that is kind of quiet and about sort of tasting the gin and having a moment with whoever you're sharing it with. So then this is as you head up the stairs. I think the stairs are kind of critical things. And yes, they're about getting from one floor to the other, but they're about a gradual reveal as well. So as you start to move up the steps, the whatever's happening above you starts to reveal itself. And the first thing you see as this reveals itself are these displays of gin, which we saw earlier. Another kind of interesting thing that they've done here is the top step is in a different material. So it's almost like this is the bit that you've come up that's kind of associated with the textures of downstairs. But once you step up onto this bit, this is a different texture. It's a different space. It's a different atmosphere. And then again, looking back down the stairs, they've repeated this little kind of visual motif of the oranges and lemons. Some people do like an orange in their gin, but certainly some sort of citrus fruit inset in there. And again, you've got this change of texture that starts to be part of the language of upstairs, not the language of downstairs. So it's always hinting at this sort of change in mood. And then again, that's looking back across the bar where you get the lighting. But then you get this little kind of doorway with the light flooding in there. So all this is quite dark, but just that is again, it's like a welcome mat, but instead of studs or a different texture, they're using light to kind of guide you through. And you know, it's just a subtle move, but it completely sort of invites you through into that space. And then continuing through with this branding and always like revealing the gin as the most important bit. And then here we have the bar, really simple. A couple of stools, 3 stools laid out. You kind of, this screen that guards it from the rest of the seating behind. So this bit feels kind of special and separated from that. And again, using lighting, yeah, to illuminate that space, but create a bit of a feature above it as well. And then that's going back down into the gin bar. Like I said, the sequence is a bit strange, but what you see here on this side is you start to see in this corner at the top of the stairs, again, the stairs hinting at something above, is a bit of the gin making paraphernalia at the top, which I think we see next. No, we don't. There's the stair again. And you see at the top there. Lovely little handrail. You can't play down how important a handrail is, because it's like your little, it's like someone's taking you by the hand and leading you up the stairs. You've got this rough concrete, you've got this kind of darkened timber here, you've got this timber stair, but then you've got this sort of well-worn timber handrail. And I know that's kind of warm and smooth to the touch. And that's going to be the friendly thing that guides me up the stairs. And then this is the main event, really. So this is a special table. So we've seen all the other tables. Here's the bar. And then there's this little table with 4 chairs next to this amazing bit of equipment. I'm assuming it's for making gin. Who knows what that does? But obviously it's important and highly polished and looked after. But to sit at this table and engage with this thing, that is the main feature of this building, which, you know, again, is just bringing it back to the gin. So even though that space is really, really simple, it has kind of a specialness to it. And then that's looking back down the bar again. Then we're back at the front door. So hopefully you can see just by looking at a project, it's not just about kind of looking at the pretty pictures and thinking, oh, I like that, I can use that in my project. I think about how all the bits connect to each other, how they create kind of special moments that take you from one space to the other, how it kind of celebrates the materiality, how it celebrates the atmosphere and the mood, and how it celebrates what your restaurant or bar is all about, in this case, gin. Okay, I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.